Today I'm going to talk about 5 things you should know when you are picking a wife. Number 1, you have to have the same values. If you don't have the same values, it's going to be very, very hard to do one thing or the other. You may disagree depending on religion, whatever, politics, but the values have to be the same. If they're not the same, it is going to be very, very difficult for you to be with that person because you will constantly irritate each other. I've done this before in the past. I dated somebody for 8 years and our values were not aligned on a lot of things, and it caused a lot of conflict. And that doesn't necessarily mean political stuff, just values in general. And if that doesn't work, then you need to find that out and then step away. And that's number 1 as far as if you're looking for a wife. Number 2, figure out how this person is. Are you okay with them? Can you talk to them? Are you welcoming? This, that, and the other. As far as, can you come home and be able to just chat with them and not cause arguments and not be a problem? Because a lot of times it feels like people cause their own drama. They make up things in their head instead of asking questions before getting upset. That's why I always try to figure out, where do we differ? How is this going to be able to be resolved? If it can be resolved, just by talking, not by getting upset, but by asking questions, and not, obviously not sarcastically, but some people don't do that. They automatically jump, and you don't want someone like that in your life because it's going to cause extra problems. Number 3, does she support your goals and do you support hers? This goes back to the values thing. Do you guys have the same values? It's really hard for somebody to get ahead in life if you want to do, if you're an ambitious person and you don't have that support behind you, but instead you have an anchor or a ball and chain that's pulling you down. That is extremely hard to overcome, especially when it's a spouse. So, and this is something that you should always come up front, is always just be up front and honest. Tell them, hey, I'm working this, that, and the other. They need to know that, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. It's a lot easier that way up front. Because I always thought about this. If a woman quits on you, it's better that she quits on you as a girlfriend or side chick or whatever, versus if you're married to her or you have children with her. That can really destroy your life, especially if you're trying to be ambitious. Or if they're envious of you. For example, in the beginning they make less money than you, then over time they start making more money, and then they throw it in your face, and then they won't allow you to do your goals and your dreams whenever you supported theirs, and eventually they'll leave you because that's just what they'll do. Number 4, don't marry someone who's not happy with themselves. Because no matter how much they do, for example, if they have some kind of body image problem where they want to get a boob job, they want to get, whatever, a tummy tuck or whatever. Most of the time, in my own experience, when I'm watching things like this, it actually makes them more self-conscious than it did before. It makes them less happier than it did before. That's my own experience. And that's something that you're going to have to deal with. That's just an example of it. Maybe they're just not a happy person. At times people grow up and they have chaos in their family growing up, and they want to replicate that as an adult because they believe it's normal. It's not normal, but they think it is. So they may try to create it, and that could be an issue for you as well. So find someone with internal happiness that drives their own happiness, and you have your own happiness. You guys should be a combination of each other, not one standing on the shoulders of the other. It's like, hey, you do your thing, you do mine, and I have the support. Number 5, have a plan. If you're looking for a wife, make sure that you have a plan, okay? You're supposed to lead. Women like men generally who lead, okay? They don't want a doormat. It's okay to tell them no. It's okay to stand your ground. It's not going to do anything to you. A lot of times they will respect you more. By trying to cope and trying to give into them, trying to make them happy, that's not going to do anything for you. And they're going to lose respect for you because you're not standing up for yourself. And they'll realize that. So lead and have a plan. If you give a plan to a woman, a lot of the times women will date and marry ambition. They will. Whether you have it or not, if you have the drive to do something or get to that place, they will marry that. They will date that. It's just how that it is. You can ask any woman, they'll tell you exactly what I'm telling you right now. Bonus. Okay. Actually, there's 2 bonuses. Number 1, I would strongly suggest, I've never dated a beautiful woman and looked at her and said, she's beautiful, while we're arguing. Just remember that. Never look at a beautiful woman and say, wow, that doesn't happen when you're having a disagreement or an argument. She becomes just like anything else in your life. As far as, oh, here we go again. You don't think about that stuff. It's only temporary. Okay? And the last thing, how much do you want peace? Do you have an agreeable wife? Do you have an agreeable person in your life where you can literally come home and hey, everything's going to be fine? There's not going to be any problems, no drama. How much of that do you want to be sure in your life? That is extremely important on picking a wife, because as I mentioned before, it can completely destroy you or it can be a great benefit to your life. But that's on you as far as what you want to do. And I would recommend a book as an alternative to what I've been saying as far as getting more information. It's No More Mr. Nice Guy. That's a perfect book. After that 8-year relationship that I was in, I read that book and it changed my life. So I would strongly suggest reading that book. It will make you a better person, because sometimes in some parts of that chapter you will read this and you will think, wow, I did not realize this, but this is actually speaking to me. Certain parts of it, not all of it, but certain parts of it, you'll think, wow, I didn't realize that, or wow, that is exactly what I'm doing. So that's something else that I'd recommend. Okay, and these are some things that you should look for when you are trying to find a wife.